Chosen one ... You're not on their map anymore. And that's why they're panicking. They're still playing a game that ended the moment you stepped into awareness. Still drawing blueprints on paper while you're operating from the cloud. Still whispering strategies in back rooms while you're downloading real-time intelligence from source. They're using walkie-talkies. You're communicating through spiritual Wi-Fi. That's not arrogance. That's evolution. You've exited the battlefield, but they're still swinging swords in the fog, believing you're somewhere inside their outdated schematic. The truth? You left that terrain so long ago, you don't even respond to those frequencies anymore. They can't feel you. They can't find you, because you're no longer broadcasting on the station they're tuned to. This is what happens when you outgrow the system. You don't fight it. You disappear from it. Imagine a general planning a war on a battlefield that no longer exists, plotting troop movements with pins on a torn paper map, while the opponent, you, has left Earth and is operating by satellite, by intuition, by energy scan. They still think you're local. You're not. You're quantum now. Chosen one, hear me. They're still checking the doors you used to walk through. Still watching locations you no longer frequent. Still asking people who no longer have access to you. They're using expired schedules, dead contacts, and disconnected networks, trying to track someone who became untraceable the moment you stopped reacting. You stopped showing up to the places where they once saw you. You stopped answering calls that vibrated with manipulation. You stopped posting breadcrumbs for them to follow. And now, they're lost in a maze they built to trap you, but you were never meant to stay in that maze. You were the glitch. They don't know how to process what can't be patterned. You disrupted their rhythm, broke the formula, erased yourself from the system, and rewrote the rules. And here's the twist. You didn't just rewrite the rules. You created an entirely new game. They keep trying to bait you with drama. You respond with silence. They push for reaction. You give stillness. They demand presence. You offer absence. Because now you see the whole board. You don't just know what they're doing. You know why they're doing it. That's what the bird's eye view gives you. Tactical foresight. Energetic intel. Spiritual surveillance systems that alert you before they even launch the first move. Your body vibrates before the trap is visible. Your gut twists hours before the phone rings. Your spirit flinches before the ambush even takes form. You're no longer guessing. You're reading their playbook, and it's dusty, obsolete, full of strategies that only work on people who haven't evolved past reaction. Chosen one, you didn't just exit the system. You outpaced it. You moved into a realm where their weapons are as effective as throwing rocks at satellites. That free warning bell that rings now is not fear. It's data. Every instinct that says leave now is not anxiety. It's precision timing guided by divine intelligence. Soul strategy. Say this to yourself. I do not respond to outdated systems. I build new maps. I don't run in circles. I rise above the field. This is your new operating system. One built on silence, strategy, and sovereignty. And here's your trigger warning. If they're still looking for you using the old schedule, the old tricks, the old tactics, they're walking straight into a trap they set for you, but now can't escape themselves. Their obsession with you is backfiring because they don't realize you're not the same target anymore. Comment below. I build new maps, and send this video to someone who still thinks you're playing the old game. Let them feel the silence. Let them hear the echo. Let them realize you left the battlefield and took the blueprint with you. Chosen one. Your intuition is no longer a quiet whisper. It's a radar, a full-body alarm system, a spiritual surveillance network running 24/7s, calibrated to detect what your eyes haven't seen and your logic hasn't processed yet. this isn't anxiety. This is awareness. The world told you to ignore that uneasy feeling, to be polite, to give them a chance. But your body, your sacred instrument, was never confused. It always knew. That sudden nausea, the chest tightening, the subtle headache after entering a room, that's not random. That's spiritual data. Your nervous system is receiving real-time signals from realms your conscious mind is still catching up to. Chosen one, you're not just more sensitive, you've been activated. What they call overreaction is actually early detection. You were never emotional. You were accurate. Think about the last time you met someone and instantly felt sick in your stomach, but couldn't explain why. Then days later, something was revealed. Their mask slipped, their energy shifted, their real intention leaked through, and suddenly, your overreaction made perfect sense. Let's talk about those 3 a.m. wake-ups. You know exactly what I mean. That dead silence hour when your eyes snap open and something inside, something's moving in your field. It's not stress. It's not insomnia. It's warning. A soft, sacred alarm from heaven's perimeter check. And the more you honor it, the sharper it becomes. Because you've entered a phase where sleeping through spiritual warfare is no longer an option. You are the watchtower now. You don't just receive alerts. You are the alert. When you shift uncomfortably during conversation, trust that. When your skin tingles in a room, trust that. When your body suddenly shuts down at an event, leave immediately. You don't need more evidence. You already have it. It's in your cells, in your nervous system, in your gut. Chosen one. Hear me. Your intuition is not a suggestion. It's an operational command. Ignore it, and you open spiritual access points. Obey it, and you walk untouched through minefields. You've been gifted what most people are still praying for. Energetic radar. A system that scans rooms before your feet, even cross the threshold. A knowing that protects before words are spoken. It doesn't always explain itself, because its job is to respond faster than logic can calculate. That strange heaviness around certain people, that's not rudeness. That's detection. That feeling of urgency to cancel a plan last minute, that's not flakiness. That's recalibration. That urge to take the longer route home for no reason, that's not coincidence. That's a detour. Away from disaster. Soul strategy. Repeat this until it becomes instinct. I trust the first signal. I honor the earliest whisper. I do not argue with my knowing. I do not explain away the sacred warnings of my body, because your spirit doesn't need validation, only obedience. Let's get practical. You've walked into a room before and felt it, the shift. You smiled, but your body tensed, your heartbeat changed, your breath shallowed. That wasn't awkward energy. That was a biofeedback download from your protection system. And now you know those signals aren't to be ignored. They are divine alerts. Trigger warning. If your body reacts when someone walks into the room, believe it. If your stomach drops mid-conversation, disengage. If your skin crawls during a hug, step back. This is not paranoia. This is data. And while they're still trusting text messages, you're reading frequency. While they check facial expressions, you're reading energy code. You've evolved past manipulation because your body no longer waits for proof. It feels truth before words are ever spoken. This is not a burden. It's your birthright. And now, more than ever, you're being called to sharpen it, to let it lead without delay. Comment below. I trust the first signal. Or if this entire message resonates deeply, I do not ignore sacred warnings. And if you've ever felt sick around someone but stayed to be polite, let this be the last time. Chosen one. This is your system now. Your third eye, a surveillance satellite. Your body, a frequency scanner. Your intuition, the operator in The control room. And you are the guardian, the first responder, the one who sees before others even sense danger. Chosen one. You didn't build a home. You built a fortress. What looks like an ordinary house to them is actually a multi-dimensional defense system wired with divine timing, surrounded by sacred technology, and guarded by forces they'll never understand. Every lock you changed, every camera you installed, every motion sensor you activated was not paranoia. It was prophetic alignment. You are guided by something greater. And now, you're untouchable. They thought they were studying you, but every time they moved, you were recording, not just digitally, but spiritually. While they were busy trying to surveil your steps, your home became a live stream of divine intelligence. Your driveway sees more than they know. Your front door captures more than a photo. And your silence? That's the real system they don't know how to disable. Chosen one. Your front porch is no longer an entry point. It's a line in the spirit. Crossing it comes with consequences. Your doorbell? A gatekeeper. Your phone? A monitor. Your apps? An archive. Your very stillness? A detection grid. You walk around your home like it's peaceful, because it is. But peace in your world is a strategic layer of protection. Let's go deeper. Think about it. When did you suddenly feel the need to install that camera system? Why did you upgrade the locks that week? What made you look into motion alerts or vehicle sensor strike before someone tried to coincidentally show up? That wasn't impulse. That was divine instruction. Your upgrades weren't random. They were transmissions from the higher realm. Trigger. Warning. If you've ever accidentally enhanced your security, upgraded your tech, invested in gear you didn't fully understand at the time. You were being positioned, not to fear, to see, not to isolate, to fortify. You didn't just become harder to find. You became impossible to infiltrate. Let's break it down. Your home is layered. You have visible defense, cameras, locks, alerts. You also have energetic defense, stillness, presence, intuition. They can't see those layers, but they feel them. That's why they hesitate now. That's why their surprise visits don't happen anymore. Why their drive-bys end with them backing away. Because they know something's watching. And it's not just the camera above your door. It's the force field around your spirit. Chosen one. Even your car is part of the system. Remember when your dashboard light came on even though nothing was wrong, only to find later that someone had tampered nearby? Remember that time your phone buzzed right as someone approached your door, but you never got up because your camera had already alerted you? These aren't coincidences. This is your surveillance grid working across the spiritual and technological plane. You see, they assumed you'd be distracted, but instead, you evolved. Your fortress has eyes they can't hack. Your silence records. More than their words ever could. They're used to people reacting. You don't react. You archive. You log. You observe. And then you vanish from reach. Soul strategy. Say this to yourself. I monitor without movement. I protect without panic. I am still, and everything is being recorded. They don't know that your peace is an entire security system in itself. You don't yell. You don't chase. You see everything. And that seeing is enough to neutralize any threat before it manifests. You're not antisocial. You're architecting safety. Every app you downloaded, every alert you receive, every weird urge to check your perimeter is not overthinking. It's training. It's awareness. It's spiritual tech. And while they're still knocking on doors that don't open, you're sitting in a house that's protected on every frequency physically, digitally, energetically, and spiritually. Comment below. My peace is a surveillance system. Or write, I move in silence. Everything is recorded. And if you've ever upgraded your security just before someone made a move, you weren't reacting. You were receiving instruction. Chosen one, you didn't just disappear. You became. Unreadable. Not because you were hiding, but because you ascended. You left the grid, not in fear, but in divine calculation. They're still refreshing old tabs, still watching stale accounts, still asking mutuals, hey, have you seen M lately? But your trail is cold, your signal scrambled, your presence untrackable, because you no longer leave breadcrumbs. No check-ins, no status updates, no time-stamped routines. Your silence isn't absence, it's asymmetrical strategy. You're not a ghost. You're a frequency mismatch. They can't decode what doesn't broadcast. They can't stalk a path that constantly shifts. They can't run plays when the field keeps moving. You've become the unsolvable equation. And every time they try to track your pattern, you pivot. Not randomly, but intuitively. With precision, because now you don't move with logic. You move with signal. You're pulled, not pushed. You're guided, not scheduled. And every time you reroute, their entire blueprint collapses. They used to know your schedule, where you'd be on Thursday nights, what time you hit the gym, what route you took to work. Now, they don't even know what city you're in. And that confusion, that void where you used to be predictable, is eating them alive. They're building spider webs in old corners you haven't visited in years, plotting ambushes in outdated energy fields you no longer respond to. Chosen one. Hear me clearly. You're not antisocial. You're unavailable to manipulation. You didn't just vanish. You became strategically invisible. They call it isolation, but it's actually elevation. They think you're lost, but you're off the radar on purpose. The silence that surrounds you now, that's not emptiness. It's sacred encryption. Think about the last time someone asked, "Where have you been?" Or said, "You've gone quiet." That wasn't a question. It was a recognition. A codebreaker's panic when they realize the map no longer works. When someone from your past reaches out and says, "I don't see you around anymore," what they're really saying is, "I can't track you anymore. I can't read your pattern. I lost access." Soul strategy. Say it with power. I am not missing. I am moving in shadows. I am the divine unknown. My presence is sacred. My movements are encrypted. You are no longer on a route. You are on a mission. And that mission requires discretion. Trigger warning. When the old ones resurface with casual concern. Where have you been? What are you up to? That's not always nostalgia. That's instinctive surveillance. It's not always about reconnection. It's about regaining access. But you've evolved past accessibility. You've become unlocatable to low frequencies. They used to find you in places of obligation. Now you only appear where alignment exists. And even then, only briefly. Only precisely. You shift like wind, move like shadow, navigate like light through fog. And just when they think they've found your rhythm, you change tempo. You disappear again. Not because you're running, but because you're not theirs to catch. This isn't about isolation. This is about preservation of power. Your unpredictability is your armor. Your silence is your shield. Your disconnection is not loss. It's liberation. You're no longer accessible to those who only sought to decode you, use you, copy you, or manipulate your pattern. They can't reverse engineer what was forged in sacred fire. They can't mimic the movement of one guided by divine GPS. You don't need to be seen to be powerful. You don't need to be followed to be effective. Comment below. I am the divine unknown. All right, they can't track what evolves. And if someone from your past suddenly reaches out after years of silence, take a breath. Tune in. Feel the frequency before you respond, because when they can't decode you, they test you, chosen one, before they open their mouth, before they make a move, before they even decide what lie to say next. You already feel it, that chill down your spine, that quiet shift in your chest, that flash of nausea when someone walks in the room. That's not paranoia. That's premonition. You are no longer operating on sight alone. You're not reacting. You're receiving. They may sit across from you with calm faces, fake smiles, and clean intentions, but your soul scans the field before the conversation even begins. Their handshake can't fool your spirit. Their eye contact doesn't confuse your radar, because you're no longer decoding people with words. You're decoding them with wavelength. You don't read them. You receive them. And in that reception, your body becomes the first line of intelligence. Every bad vibe is not a mood. It's a download. Every sense of I need to leave is not anxiety. It's a tactical redirect from the higher realm. You don't just walk into a room. You scan it without even trying. Your energy is sorting people into categories. Aligned, suspicious, dangerous. Before the first word is said, chosen. One, you've developed energetic X-ray. And that's not fantasy. That's survival. The world is coded now. Words are unreliable. Appearances are manufactured. But energy never lies. You've learned this through pain, through betrayal, through setups, through people who smiled to your face while drawing daggers behind your back. You didn't just learn how to forgive. You learned how to discern. And now, your frequency has become your field commander. You're not playing catch-up anymore. You're not waiting for confirmation. You're not asking, was that shade? Was that real? Should I trust this feeling? Because now you know if you felt it. It's real. That chill, that muscle twitch, that stomach drop, that sudden fatigue, that's intel. Your body is now your first responder. Your intuition is a biosurveillance system designed to spot energetic intruders before they put on their costume. And this is what terrifies them. Because the people who plot against you, the ones who whisper in the shadows, the ones who try to mask jealousy as concern, they don't realize you saw them coming 3 days ago. They don't know that before they even planned that meeting, you had a dream. You woke up at 3:11 a.m. in a sweat. You had a headache with no cause. You felt heat in your palms for no reason. That was the energetic ripple of their intention, hitting your auric field in advance. They think they're moving in secrecy, but you're scanning on ultra-high frequency. By the time they say, hey, can we talk? Your system already logged. Deceptive tone detected. By the time they say, I've been thinking about you lately, your radar has flagged. Access denied. Soul strategy? Say it with me. I see before I'm seen. I feel before they speak. I prepare before they plot. I live in dimensions their mind can't comprehend. This isn't paranoia. This is positional clarity. You're not afraid. You're informed. You're not anxious. You're activated. And here's your warning. When your body reacts, listen. First time, do not over-rationalize. Do not override the signal. Do not silence your gift to protect someone else's comfort, because your body was never wrong. The people were that sudden back pain when they show up. That's a shield activating. That dizziness, that's your field pushing them out. Trigger warning. If you feel a vibration or tremble in someone's presence, leave. No proof needed. Your feeling is the evidence. You don't need to eavesdrop. You're tapped into the cosmic line. You don't need security cameras. You're already wired with a divine surveillance system. They're meeting in boardrooms. You're getting alerts from heaven. They're forming alliances. You're shifting energy. They're writing plans. You're walking prophecies, chosen one. This is your era of energetic clarity. And it's not meant to isolate you. It's meant to protect you. It's why you no longer ignore your gut. It's why you cancel last minute. It's why you suddenly change paths. You're not flaking. You're dodging bullets you were never meant to receive. Comment below. I trust the signal the first time. Or write, my soul is my early warning system. And if you've ever had a dream, a chill, or a strange feeling, then days later the truth came out. You're not crazy. You're called . And if your hands ever warmed up in a room full of silence, that wasn't nerves. That was divine alert mode. This is the gift of the chosen one. You don't just walk with God. You're wired with God. So walk boldly. Scan confidently. Speak only when moved, and trust the silence when it speaks first. Chosen one. You were never the victim. You were the trapdoor they didn't know they were stepping on. They thought you were prey. But your stillness was not weakness. It was surveillance. It was spiritual data collection. It was divine counterintelligence in silence. You see, they didn't come alone. They came with reinforcements. Group chats, cousins, fake friends, concerned relatives, backed by smear campaigns dressed up as genuine concern. They showed up in groups because they knew they couldn't take you one-on-one. But what they didn't realize is you weren't standing alone. You had air support. You were walking with angels they couldn't see. You were coded with backup from realms they don't believe exist. You were protected by a system that doesn't need to shout to strike. And so every coordinated ambush, every passive-aggressive campaign, every guilt trip masked as a family meeting, every friend who suddenly turned cold after talking to them failed, not because you fought, but because you didn't flinch, you didn't react, you observed. You redirected the entire battlefield with one silent move. You saw them. And once you saw them clearly, they lost all their power. Here's what they didn't expect: that you would become the consequence. They thought you were the experiment, the easy target, the one they could gaslight into submission. But you became the energetic mirror that exposed their own shadows. You didn't fight back with fists. You fought back with vibration. You didn't yell. You elevated . And that's when everything they built to get to you turned on them. Soul strategy. Say it with me. I am not hunted. I am heaven's surveillance. I do not cower under pressure. I cause pressure in those who dare to test me. Chosen one, you've probably noticed this already. The more silent you became, the louder their chaos grew. The more you retreated in peace, the more they scrambled for ways to track, poke, or provoke. Why? Because they weren't seeking reconciliation. They were seeking relevance. You cut off their energetic supply, and suddenly they're everywhere. At the store, in your inbox, through mutual friends, trying to bump into you as if the universe conspired for a casual moment. Trigger warning. If you start noticing multiple people showing up by coincidence, that's not divine timing. That's a test. The matrix is checking your blind spots. Don't fail by being polite. Your silence is more powerful than any polite smile. This is not the time to explain. It is the time to fortify. Your protection isn't just external. It's spiritual. You're now operating as a frequency firewall. Nothing enters without divine clearance. You don't just defend. You expose. You reflect. You confuse the enemy. By refusing to be baited, you disarm them with your unshakable awareness. You've become what they never expected. A walking counter-strike system, cloaked in grace, guided by God, armed with intuition, and backed by an invisible fleet of divine justice. They tried to steady your triggers, but your triggers dissolved. They tried to provoke your patterns, but your patterns evolved. They tried to predict your next move, but you left their grid months ago. Now they're playing chess with a ghost. You've become undetectable, but more impactful than ever. Let's make this clear. You are no longer in the field. You are the field. You are no longer navigating their traps. You are the reprogrammed map dot. You are no longer fighting for clarity. You are the signal. And when they try to gather troops, gossip, or group plots, the sky starts to collapse around them. Because they forgot one thing: you are divinely monitored. And any weapon formed against you now activates a higher retaliation. Frequency dots say it with me one more time. I'm not nervous because I'm being watched. They're nervous because I see without looking. I know without asking. I leave without warning. And I return only when God says move. Comment below. I make watchers nervous. Or type, I'm heaven's silent surveillance. And if you've ever seen multiple people act weird at once, if you've felt like they were talking behind your back but couldn't prove it, just know that feeling was your clearance level rising. They can't handle the truth because you are the truth. They can't track your steps because your path was designed by the divine. And chosen one, you're not hiding. You're ascending. Beyond recognition. Chosen one, the time for camouflage is over. The time for whispering your truth has expired. The time for shrinking your presence just to stay safe has been deleted from the divine schedule. You don't have to hide anymore, because now they can't touch you. They used to stare with arrogance. Now they can't hold your gaze. They used to test your boundaries. Now they retreat before you even speak. They used to think you were weak, soft, easily manipulated, until your silence taught them that stillness is a weapon when it's backed by divine authority. You are the final scene of their game. They're still acting like it's the first quarter, but the scoreboard has already frozen. You've already won. Let's make this plain. You didn't win by shouting. You didn't win by arguing. You didn't even win by proving your point. Won by surviving, by not becoming like them, by holding your frequency so steady that their chaos couldn't infect your soul. You won when you chose peace over war and light over performance. Now, look what's happening. You walk in the room, and it's not just attention you command. It's trembling. Why? Because your presence carries every truth they tried to bury. Your light is the evidence. Your peace is the retaliation. Your resilience is the sword they didn't see coming. You are the eagle now, soaring at heights where poison can't rise. You are the walking prophecy they laughed at when you were quiet, but now fear because you haven't said a word. And yet, everything is falling into place around you. Soul strategy. Say it with me. I don't win by noise. I win by presence. I don't need revenge. I am the reminder that light always outlasts the plot. Chosen one. You know this is real, because lately you felt a strange peace, a quiet that almost feels unnatural, like the storm disappeared too quickly. Trigger warning. That sudden peace you feel, that's not random. That's not coincidence. That's not just rest. That's aftermath. You're standing in the silence that follows a war you've already won. They're no longer attacking because they can't find you. You've risen too far. Their radar doesn't reach this frequency. They don't approach you anymore because your energy is now a mirror with consequences. They know if they get too close, something will be exposed. And it won't be you. You are no longer hiding. To stay safe, you are now visible because you are safe. You are the walking vault of what they tried to steal. You are the breathing proof that God protects His own. They tried to silence you. You became louder without saying a word. They tried to intimidate you. You became so calm, it unnerved them. They tried to turn people against you. But now the same people they used to manipulate look at you like you're the only real one left. Here's the reality. They didn't just lose access to you. They lost access to the version of themselves they were when you still gave them grace. And now, You don't have to prove a thing. You don't have to explain the change. Your existence is explanation enough. Chosen one, understand this? You are not unreachable because you're running. You are unreachable because you've become untouchable. You are never meant to blend in. You are never meant to be background noise. You are meant to stand out, not for ego, but for eternal evidence. So when they see you now, they won't just feel regret. They'll feel the weight of what they did when they had access to someone divinely assigned to shape their soul. But that version of you? Gone. Now they're left watching the light they mocked. Rise above the smoke of every failed attack. Declare this out loud. I am not who I used to be. I don't need to fight for space. I am the confirmation. I am the clean. Air after the war. I don't hide. I reveal. I don't attack. I outlast. And I don't fall back. I ascend. Comment below. I don't need to hide. I am the light they tried to bury. Or peace is my proof of victory. And if someone recently looked at you, then looked away, quickly, that's confirmation. Your gaze is a portal they can't handle anymore. Asterisk.